sounds a bit hazy. Checking the forecast, things looking crazy. A storm on the horizon, the pressure is low. Gotta get moving, put on a show. The news is all buzzing, state of alert, but we've got a plan, we're ready to work. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. See a little fire or a rising flood, we're a well-oiled machine, we're running in the mud. From the city hall meetings to the rescue teams, turning worst case scenarios into hopeful dreams. We're training the people, we're stocking the gear, we're the team you can count on when trouble is near. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. It's more than a job, it's a calling, you see. Prepared for the present and what's yet to be. Every second counts, we're ready to react for our communities. We're making an impact. Emergency Management Associates, we're here for the crisis, we're here for the fates. From the first sign of trouble to the all clear sign, we're on the front lines, we're one of a kind. Emergency Management Associates, we're the calm in the chaos, we're opening gates, connecting the dots and making the calls. We're picking you up when you're starting to fall. Yeah, we're picking you up, we're ready to go. Let's get this show on the road. Let's get this show on the road, guys. What do you say? I say let's do it right now. My name's Ron Tyler. I'm the president of Emergency Management Associates. We're coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Welcome to our show tonight, guys. We're glad to have you. Now, we're going to talk about earthquakes at the beginning. We're going to talk about earthquakes at the end. We're going to start with the Italy earthquake last night. After we got off the air, there was a very strong 6.3 earthquake in Italy. In Italy, guys. Let me show you. This was as it was happening. This was a 6.3 earthquake that they showed last night, right smack dab in the south central part of Italy. Now, that didn't remain there. That did not remain. What happened? Let me show you what happened last night. They moved it. They moved it offshore. They moved it offshore, guys. Let me show you the earthquake last night. You're kidding me. Let me show you this earthquake, guys. Unbelievable. When it first was shown, it was shown onshore, on land, in south central Italy. This is where it ended up here. Offshore. Offshore, okay? Offshore from Molise, Italy.
They also downgraded to a 5.9 earthquake. They downgraded to a 5.9 earthquake, but look where it was originally put. Look at all those aftershocks where it was originally put. Now, guys, there's a problem here. There's a real problem. Okay, this earthquake could never have had happen offshore in the Tyrrhenian Sea. This was onshore. Look where the aftershocks are located. Look where all those aftershocks are located on land in south central Italy. Okay, this earthquake was not offshore like they said it was, and they downgraded to 5.9. This earthquake was at least a 6.7 earthquake. This earthquake was at least a 6.7 earthquake. Regardless of what the USGS said, regardless of what they did, this was a 6.7 earthquake, and it was on shore, on land, in the central part of southern Italy. That's where the earthquake was. You cannot separate the major earthquake from where the aftershocks are. It's impossible. Utterly impossible. Again, this is an example of what the agencies do. They tell you one thing and they absolutely do another. They change the location of the earthquake, and then they show aftershocks where the original earthquake was. They also downgraded it from a 6.3 all the way down to 5.9 when it was really a 6.7 earthquake. 6.7 earthquake. Okay? I keep telling you all, I show you all what happens. This is utterly ridiculous. Should never happen. But this is what the agency does. Okay? They want us to believe one thing and they absolutely do another. Want us to believe one thing and they absolutely do another. That's what's sad about this. Okay? They absolutely lie through their teeth. Now, why are they doing it? Why are they doing it? South of this earthquake, near the shoreline, Naples, southeast of Naples, we have Vesuvius volcano. They are also saying nothing's happening at Vesuvius volcano, which is wrong. Yes, there are tremors happening. We don't have any minor earthquakes. We don't have small earthquakes right now. We don't have moderate earthquakes right now. All the earthquakes there are tremors. They've also redone the map so it doesn't even show steam coming from the volcano. That's what they do. They don't give a flying rat's butt what is actually going on. They want their narrative to be told. They want their narrative and nothing else to be said about it. Sad. A very sad state of affairs. Okay? It's unbelievable what is happening here. What's happening should never happen. Should never happen. Now, let's go over the USGS map here. I want to show you it. I'm going to take down our EMA banner. I'm going to take down our webcam for the time being. Notice that earthquake over here on the left-hand side of your screen. That's Italy. That's earthquake in Italy here. Let's zoom in on it, okay? Look at the USGS map. On the USGS map, they're not even showing the aftershocks. They're not showing any other earthquakes at all. This also is a sign that they don't know what they're talking about. They absolutely don't know what they're talking about. Okay? Over in north central Italy, we have swarms of earthquakes. There are about 32 earthquakes in north central Italy. We have earthquakes down in the Sicily, southern part of Italy, in the toe of the boot. Earthquakes everywhere in Italy. They're not showing them. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid they let us know what's going on. Very sad state of affairs. It's insane, guys. This is totally insane. Should this be happening? No, it should not. It should never happen. Not now, not ever. Let's move out here. Look all around the map. Look all over Europe. All over Europe, they're not saying one word. Not one word about earthquakes at all. Okay? There are about 1,000 earthquakes all over Europe. 1,000 earthquakes all over Europe. They're not showing us one, not a single one. They're not showing us any earthquakes here in the Middle East. They're not showing much of anything here. Okay? Literally not showing us much of anything. Let's go down here into Indonesia. There are 42 earthquakes here in Indonesia. They are showing us one earthquake. One earthquake right here. Okay? This is in the Indian Ocean. This is in the Indian Ocean here, guys. This is a 5.0 southeast of Java. Southeast of Java, Indonesia. See Java, Indonesia here? This is southeast of Java, Indonesia here in the Indian Ocean. Okay? Almost in the Banda Sea. Now, we have to go up here. I want to go up here to Japan first. Again, over here, northeast of Taiwan. The islands between Japan and Taiwan belong to Japan. The Ryukyu Islands, as they call them. This is another 4.6 moderate earthquake here, near Tarama, Japan. 52 miles south-southeast of Tarama, Japan. Go north. We go up here. Honshu, Japan. Honshu, Japan. This is another 4.6 near Nami, Japan. Near Nami, Japan. Remember yesterday we showed you an earthquake here near Fukushima. Just offshore from Fukushima, Japan, it was a large earthquake. This is very close to that earthquake here. This time on land here near Nami, Japan. This is just 2 miles south of Nami, Japan, basically in Nami, Japan itself. Okay? 4.6 earthquake causes moderate damage. Okay? I don't give a flying rat's butt what USGS wants to call them. Moderate earthquakes can knock books on knickknacks off of shelves, can rattle plates and dishes and glasses in cupboards. If the cupboards aren't secured by the doors, then what happens? Some of those plates and even glasses can fall off the shelves. Okay? Pictures and other things fall off the walls. That's what happened here in Japan today. Moderate damage, not anything big. Nobody injured or even killed. Okay? But these are not the only earthquakes here as well. There are other earthquakes here in Japan. Okay? I'm going to back off here. Let's go up to southeast of the Kamchatka Peninsula. We showed you 7 earthquakes here yesterday. 7 earthquakes yesterday. Today they're showing 2 earthquakes. They showed you 2 earthquakes yesterday. We had 7. Today they're showing us another 2 here. This is a 4.7 moderate earthquake here in the Pacific Ocean on the fault line. Both of these earthquakes are on the fault line. This is a 4.3 earthquake here. 4.3 earthquake here. Now remember we had 5.3 earthquake here yesterday? Guess what? That seismic energies moved over here to the Aleutian Islands. Moved over to the Aleutian Islands. Still, southeast of Attu Station, we are still having earthquakes. Last week we had a 6.3 in this same location, southeast of Attu Station. Attu Station is this island right here. Okay? These earthquakes are southeast of Attu Station today. These are aftershocks. This is a 4.1 aftershock. This is a 2.8 aftershock. Okay? These are also 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. Shallow earthquakes. Shallow earthquakes. Further over here to the east, also on the Aleutian Island Ridge here. This is a 2.9. 2.9 minor earthquake, 141 miles southwest of Atka, Alaska. But south of this minor 2.9, I'm going to even say 3.0 because you know what USGS does. You know what USGS does? They downgrade these earthquakes to the nearest 0.9. I call it the 0.9 society is alive and well. The 0.9 society is alive and well. South of this 2.9 3.0, this is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. 4.2 moderate earthquake. Incredible, huh? It really is. When you really think about it, it really is. 4.2 earthquake. But notice this. Over in the Atka Islands here, right up here, this is a minus 0.2 microquake. Minus 0.2 microquake. Notice where this earthquake is. It's on the northern slopes of a volcano here. The northern slopes of the volcano. They say this is above sea level. It's not. This is 6.2 miles deep, 10 kilometers deep. This is a this is not a 0 point anything. This is a zero. This is not a minus number. This is 0.1 microquake. 6.2 miles, 10 kilometers deep. Inside the volcano. Inside the volcano here. Okay? Further to the southeast, this is a 1.3 earthquake in the Baltic Sea. Baltic Sea here. Okay? Now look at this. No more earthquakes here in the islands. We don't see another earthquake until we get off the southern shore of the Alaska Peninsula. In this case, south of Perryville, Alaska. 131 miles southeast of Perryville, Alaska. This happens to be a 3.5 earthquake. 3.5 earthquake here, guys. This is also 12.5 miles deep. 12.5 miles deep, about 20 kilometers deep. On the fault line. On the edge of the plate. On the edge of the plate. This earthquake is also there. This is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. Now we go up into Alaska to see these other earthquakes in southwestern Alaska. There's nothing major here at all. Not at all. This earthquake that just happened here, it's in the Cook Inlet here. This is a Cook Inlet. This is also 3.2 earthquake here. We go north here. This is near Possession, Alaska. Point Possession, Alaska, 2.1 earthquake. Go up here into Anchorage, the capital of Alaska. There are no major, minor, or even tiny earthquakes anywhere near it. Nothing. Nothing shown. We go north from there and we see all kinds of minor and small earthquakes here. For example, this earthquake here is a 3.6 earthquake. Off to the west here, this is a 2.0 minor earthquake here. Really nothing major at all, isn't there? Really nothing. We go up into Denali, Alaska. Okay? Up here. Guess what? USGS has correctly identified where this earthquake is for the first time in a very long time. They say this is a 1.7 tremor. That's good. They also said it's 38 miles southeast of Denali, Alaska. It's not southeast at all. This is northwest Denali, Alaska. not southeast of, but it's in the northwestern part of Denali, Alaska. The northwestern part of Denali, Alaska. That's a good thing. Okay? But again, they still cannot identify the exact location where these earthquakes are. They don't want to show where these earthquakes really are, or they don't want to tell where these earthquakes really are. That's what they're doing here. Okay? I'm going to back out here. There are no earthquakes north of the Arctic Circle here. You can plainly see where the Arctic Circle here is in the brownish gray area right here, the Arctic Circle. There are no earthquakes in or around the Arctic Circle at all. They are south of there. They're south of there. That's a good thing. That's a very good thing. Now, we talked about the northern part of the Pacific Ocean here. We talked about Japan. Okay, we talked about Indonesia. Let's go down here into the South Pacific. Over here, this is Vanuatu. Okay, this is a 4.8 moderate earthquake here. 54 miles east of Port Olry, Vanuatu. I'm zooming in here so you can see where it is. Okay. This is east of Port Olry, Vanuatu. You can see Port Olry right there. 4.8 earthquake here. Guys, it's on the edge of the plate here. This earthquake and the entire area of Vanuatu, all the islands of Vanuatu, are on the edge of the plate here. 7 different tectonic plates in this region. It's no small wonder we have earthquakes in this region. But a 4.8 earthquake hit here last night. We go further south here. Okay, right here. This is in the Legacy Islands, Loyalty Islands here. Out again in the Pacific Ocean. This is the large 5.0 earthquake. Large 5.0 earthquake right here. Okay. This again happened early this morning. Approximately 1:30 this morning. Eastern Time. 5.0 earthquake right here. We back out here some more. We go north here. This time we're talking about west-northwest of Houma Tonga, Houma Tonga. You might think this might be in the Fiji Islands. It's close to the Fiji Islands here, guys. It's closer to the Fiji Islands than Houma Tonga. Guys, this is a 4.8 earthquake. 4.8 earthquake. Houma Tonga is way over here. 4.8 earthquake here. This is 163 miles west-northwest of Houma Tonga, closer to the Fiji Islands. For the south, this is a 4.6 earthquake here, south of the Fiji Islands. This is also 327 miles deep. Let's turn that into kilometers. I want you to see this. Turn this into kilometers here. I just did that. Now, this earthquake is actually 527 kilometers deep. 527 kilometers deep. Now, guys, that is a deep earthquake. This is a deep earthquake. Let's look at the depth to magnitude conversion chart here. Let's look at the depth of the magnitude conversion chart. Let's look over here in the second column. 532 miles deep. Let's look at adding a 1.06 to this earthquake. 1.06 to this earthquake here. Okay? Now, let's go back to the USGS map here. Okay? This was a 4.6 earthquake. We're going to add a 1.06 to this earthquake. That means this earthquake is going to birth. It's going to birth a larger shallow earthquake. Largest shallow earthquake is going to be at least a 5.7, at least a 5.7 to 5.8 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. It's going to birth a 5.7 to 5.8 earthquake within the next 3 to 10 days. Okay? Now down here further to the south. This is a 4.7 earthquake. 4.7 earthquake, 526 miles deep. The same thing applies here. We're going to add a 1.06 to this earthquake here. This is a 4.7 now. But somewhere in the next 3 to 10 days, it's going to birth a larger, shallower quake. It's going to birth at least a 5.8 to 5.9 earthquake. 5.8 to 5.9 earthquake in the next 3 to 10 days, which means we're going to see 2 earthquakes, one between a 5.6 and 5.7, and one between a 5.7 and 5.8. We also had earthquakes here 2 days ago. We're still looking for a 5.8 to 5.9 earthquake from there. Also probably going to happen within the next 2 to 3 days, or maybe up to 10 days from now. We'll see. We'll see. Okay? But again, they're still not showing any earthquakes here in New Zealand. There are earthquakes here. Most of these are small and minor earthquakes, as we've seen before. Now, guys, whenever there's a large earthquake, such as a moderate 4.0 to 4.9 or larger, we're going to show you earthquakes here in New Zealand. So far, most of those are just minor earthquakes, 2.0 to 2.9. Yes, there are a few north of the North Island that are 3.2, 3.7 earthquakes, but they're offshore. They're either in the Bay of Plenty, which we commonly call the Catcher's Mitt here in New Zealand. Bay of Plenty here. We commonly refer to it as the Catcher's Mitt. These are where those larger 3.0 small earthquakes are. All the rest of these earthquakes, either east or west, here in the North or South Island, are minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.9. Fortunately, recently we had some 4.4, 4.5 earthquakes and 4.6 earthquakes here in New Zealand. But here, they're always small depth earthquake, very minor depth earthquakes. Okay? Over here in South America, as I said before, there are more earthquakes here than they're showing. Here in central Chile here, north central Chile, this is a 4.2 earthquake here. Near Vallendi, Chile, 4.2 minor or 4.2 moderate quake. Over here on the eastern side of the Andes Mountains in Argentina, this is a 4.6 earthquake here. Near Candelaria, I butchered that, I'm sorry. Candelaria, Argentina. Candelaria, Argentina, 4.6 earthquake, 125 miles deep. Fairly shallow quake. Now, guys, there are 13 other earthquakes here in this region. There are 13 other earthquakes here in central Chile that they're not showing us. Typical. Let's go north here. This earthquake is in the basically the summit of the Andes Mountains here. Near the summit of the Andes Mountains. Let's zoom in here. Okay. Look where this earthquake is. There's roadway here. There's several roadways here. Okay. This is in the summit of the Andes Mountains here. Okay. This is a 4.2 moderate earthquake. This is also 102 miles 100 kilometers, basically 72 miles west of San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. West of San Antonio de los Cobres, Argentina. In the summit of the Andes Mountains. Okay, we go north. There are 17 earthquakes here in northern Chile area here. Northern Chile area here. Antofagasta and Tarapacá, Chile are counties here, the provinces of Chile. All kinds of earthquakes here, 17 of them. USGS is not showing any of them, none. These are 4.2 to 4.6. They're 3.0, 3.9. They are 2.5 to 2.7 earthquakes here. But again, USGS doesn't want to show them to us. There's one earthquake here in southern Peru, a 4.2 earthquake here, near Arica, Peru. Earthquakes up here in Colombia. They're showing us one earthquake. There are three. This earthquake here is a 4.6 near Arguella, Colombia. Two more earthquakes near San Antonio, Colombia. Both of those are moderate earthquakes as well. I think one is a 4.6, and the other one is a 4.2. Okay. Of course, they're not showing us any earthquakes here in Central America. There are 12 earthquakes here in Central America. These are small 3.0, 3.9, and 2 or 3 4.0, 4.5 earthquakes here in Central America. There's 72 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. 72 earthquakes in southern Mexico. They never want to show what's going on here. For whatever the reason, they don't want to show them what's going on. 72. They range in size from 3.0, 3.9, 4.0, 4.8 earthquakes here. But they refuse to show us what's going on. That's pretty sad. That's very sad. Okay? Don't want to show us what's going on. They never do. They never do. Here in Southern California, briefly, I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Southern California, there are 400 earthquakes here in Los Angeles area here. 400 earthquakes here in the Los Angeles area. What are they showing us? They're showing us 6 earthquakes here in Los Angeles. 6 earthquakes. One offshore here. One south of Malibu. They have this where offshore west of San Pedro, where Carol was born. Carol was born in San Pedro. They have this as a 1.4 tremor, 18 kilometers southeast San Pedro. That's wrong. This is southwest San Pedro, off in the ocean. San Pedro is over here, guys. San Pedro is right in here. Actually, it's north of Long Beach. San Pedro is right in here. Okay? This would be southwest of San Pedro. Southwest of San Pedro. Again, I don't know why USGS makes these mistakes. They do it often, though. They do it often. They don't want to tell us exactly where these earthquakes are at. They can show us off in the ocean or they can show it on land, and half the time they're wrong. They're wrong. In this case, there's over 400 earthquakes here in Los Angeles area. They're showing us 6. Showing us 6. This earthquake down south, Costa de Casa, California. Costa de Casa, California. 1.3 tremor here. Going north. Villa Park, California. Villa Park, Los Angeles County. Notice where this earthquake is. This is southeast of Anaheim. Disneyland territory. This is 1.4 tremor here. There are 2 3.0 earthquakes here in Anaheim today, early this morning, way early this morning. North of Anaheim here. This is a 1.2 tremor here, Yorba Linda, California. For those of you who are older, were born before 1970s, okay? Our former President Richard M. Nixon was born here in Yorba Linda, California. This is a 1.2 tremor in Yorba Linda, California. Okay? Further to the east, okay? This earthquake here, Moreno Valley, Orange County. This is the 1.4 tremor here, just west of the San Jacinto Fault. This is a 1.0. 1.0 on what? The San Jacinto. This just south of Loma Linda. South of Loma Linda here. Okay, south of Loma Linda. Guys, when we have an earthquake here, it's reflected as Loma Linda and Mira Loma. When we pull a seismograph from this area, it says Mira Loma. This is 1.0 here, 5 kilometers southeast of Loma Linda, 2 miles southeast of Loma Linda. Okay? Then the next thing they're showing us over here is over here in Idlewild area. Idlewild. This is in the foothills of the San Bernardino Mountains. This is 0.7. This is 0.3 microquake here. This is Anza Gap, part of the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. 1.1 tremor here. This is a 0.7 microquake, also in the Anza-Borrego Desert State Park. Then we come down here into San Diego County, northeast San Diego County. Palomar Mountain. Palomar Mountain, guys, guess what? This is right near the telescope, right near Palomar Telescope, the Hale telescope, or the Hale lens of the telescope. Okay? Palomar Mountain. This is a 1.0 tremor here at Palomar Mountain. Unreal, huh? Really is. Really is. The next thing you know here, we're down here northeast of Escondido. Northeast of Escondido. Now, guys, what else is here? What else is here? This is Lake Henshaw. This is Lake Henshaw. This earthquake is southwest of Lake Henshaw. They have this as a 0.4 microquake, southeast of Lake Henshaw. Look at again where Lake Henshaw is. This is actually southwest of Lake Henshaw. Again, USGS can't make up its mind where these earthquakes are at. Craziness. Craziness, guys. Then we get in here into Imperial Valley. Imperial Valley. This earthquake here is 14 miles east of Julian, at the top of the Chocolate Mountains. This is a 1.0 tremor here. Okay? This earthquake here, this near Ocotillo Wells, California, 1.0 tremor here. Then we come over here to the southern side of the Salton Sea. Notice the earthquakes here. This is very interesting. Look at this. Guys, this is a 2.2 earthquake near Nyland, California. This is northwest of Calipatria here. This northwest of Calipatria here, on the southern side of the Salton Sea. Okay? A 2.2 minor earthquake here. 2.2 minor earthquake. Now, let's zoom in here. Want to show you some things here. Right here. Guess what we have? This is one of those geothermal facilities where men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of the Salton Butte volcano to obtain steam to power turbines here at the geothermal facility here to generate electricity. This is just one of those facilities here. I believe there's 4 other facilities here on the southern end of the Salton Sea. The southern end of the Salton Sea. One of those other facilities is right here. Right here. You see the steam coming from the turbines? The steam generated from the Salton Butte volcano? You also see the holding pond here. You actually see several holding ponds here. Why are they holding water here? This is treated water. This is treated sewage water that they pump into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to still make sure they have steam from the upper magma chambers of the volcano. They pump water in the upper magma chambers, guys, to generate steam for themselves, to generate electricity here. That's what they do. That's one reason why they have earthquakes here. But again, they're still not showing all the earthquakes here. Still not showing all the earthquakes. Now, tomorrow, I'm going to show you earthquakes here in Southern California, including at Calipatria. I'm going to show you earthquakes here at Calipatria, guys. When I do that, guess what you're going to see? You're going to see probably close to 100 earthquakes here, at least 100 earthquakes in Calipatria. That's because USGS is not telling us what exactly is going on here. They have anywhere from 75 to 150 earthquakes here every day. Every day. Right here in Calipatria, California. But they're still not being honest with us at all. They can't be honest with us at all. We come down here further to the southwest here. We have earthquakes here. 3 of them. Actually, there's more than that. Now, this earthquake is attributed to Westmoreland, California. About 4 months ago, they turned off our access to Westmoreland seismograph. They turned our access off to the Westmoreland seismograph. Usually Westmoreland has probably anywhere from 50 to 75 earthquakes a day that they catalog. But in this case, they're not showing to the public. This is a 1.7 tremor here in Westmoreland, California. This is a 1.1 tremor. Guys, this is a 1.7. Okay? They would not be able to have this information if they shut off the Westmoreland seismograph. They haven't done it. They just shut off our access to it. They shut off our access to the Westmoreland seismograph. Interesting. That's why I'm showing it to you. There are all kinds of earthquakes up and down the entire fault line. Up and down the entire fault line, guys. Just briefly, over here in San Francisco Bay Area. Why do I want to show you this? We still have earthquakes over here in San Ramon, California. Right here. Another 1.6 tremor here in San Ramon. Over here to the west. I just love this. On the San Andreas Fault. Pacifica, California. Pacifica, California, 1.7 tremor. Guys, there are all kinds of earthquakes pent up here. All kinds of seismic energy locked up here in the San Francisco Bay Area. That's why we still have earthquakes here. But again, they're not showing us all the quakes either. San Francisco is due a major earthquake. San Francisco is due a major earthquake. It's over 40 years from having a good sized earthquake. I mean, a 5.0 to a 6.9 earthquake. We were expecting at least a 6.9, 7.0 earthquake here in the San Francisco Bay Area. At the same time, unrelated to the Hayward Fault, down here in Southern California, we are still expecting any day now. Could be any day, it could be tomorrow, next week, or next year. But we are still expecting a 7.0 earthquake here in Southern California related to the San Andreas Fault. It's going to happen. It will happen. Okay? They're lying to us about what's happening here in the Imperial Valley. They're lying what's happening here in San Diego. They're lying about what's happening in Los Angeles. They're hiding the information. Now, my main focus of this program, the rest of this program, the main focus of my program today, our program, is here on the New Madrid Fault. Again, look here. The USGS is not showing us anything here on the New Madrid Fault at all. Nothing. Not a thing. But I'm going to show you earthquakes up and down the fault line. Literally up and down the fault line. Let me tell you a little bit about the New Madrid Fault first. Okay? I want to give you a little briefing about what's going on here. As I said before, I've done a lot of research here. I've been continuing doing a lot of research here on the New Madrid Fault. One of the most prominent features on the U.S. Geological Survey map, the hazard map that I'm showing you here. Okay? I'm showing you the hazard map surrounding the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid seismic zone is going to harvest an earthquake as high as other western areas of the United States, as high as other areas of the western United States, upwards of an 8.1 earthquake. The New Madrid seismic zone is going to harvest an 8.0, 8.1 earthquake here. The New Madrid seismic zone is very active. Very active. The USGS is saying, they're just saying that they have measured 200 earthquakes here in the past year. That's interesting. That's very interesting. Just on the seismograms we show you here every week. There are well over 400 earthquakes here a day. Over 400 earthquakes here a day here on the New Madrid Fault, and they only show us 200 a year. I don't even think they show us 200 a year, guys. I don't think so. As we pointed out here before, the New Madrid seismic zone covers parts of Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, and east into Indiana. Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, east into Indiana, Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So from actually Illinois and Indiana south to what? South to the Gulf of America here. That's the New Madrid Fault. The New Madrid Fault itself extends approximately 120 miles southward from Charleston, Missouri, and Cairo, Illinois, through New Madrid and Caruthersville, Missouri, following Interstate 55 and I-40 to Blytheville, then to Marktree, Arkansas. We're going to talk about Marktree in a few minutes. I'm going to show you earthquakes in Marktree today. 3.0 small earthquakes there. Now, the New Madrid Fault crosses 5 state lines and cuts across the Mississippi River in 3 different places, and the Ohio River in 2 different places. Okay? Now, the fault system itself in the New Madrid zone is poorly understood. I honestly don't think that USGS has done much of any research on it. Why do I say that? Because they don't even discuss it daily. They know darn well the New Madrid earthquake fault zone has earthquakes here every day. Not just earthquakes, but tremors and minor earthquakes as well. All over. They don't talk about it, do they? Rarely. They don't want to even show 200 earthquakes a year. That poses a challenge, doesn't it? Now, the USBS claims that they only show earthquakes near the surface. They claim they only show earthquakes near the surface. Guess what? That's not always true. Some of these earthquakes are anywhere from 100 to 200 or even 6 miles deep. Sometimes they're covered by what they call alluvial soil that moves down through the water and accumulates in the southern part of the Mississippi River. It's called alluvial soil. Some of these earthquakes are covered by silt and soil, anywhere from 100 feet, 200 feet, up to 6.5 miles deep. Now, unlike the West Coast, I'm going to talk here. I want everybody to understand what's going on here. Unlike the West Coast, where major earthquake activity is more predictable, based on measured movement at tectonic plate boundaries, the New Madrid fault is not located on a tectonic plate boundary. The New Madrid fault is in the center east part of the United States. It is an entirely separate fault system, completely separated from the tectonic boundaries. Okay? The crust in the central United States is being what they call deformed or strained. Slowly. The fault changes slowly here, in contrast to conditions on the west and east coast. Now, another contrast is due to difference in geological characteristics. The harder, colder, drier, and less shaking over large areas than quakes of comparable magnitude in the west. Yes, it's colder during the winter. It's drier during the summer. It's less fractured crust than on the west coast. The central part of the United States generates greater shaking over large areas than quakes of comparable magnitude in the west. Shaken damage control areas are up to 20 times larger. Shaken damage areas are up to 20 times larger than on the west coast. Incredible. I'm going to talk about damage here from the 8.0 earthquake. I'm going to get into that. Now, the USBS tells us that earthquakes cannot be predicted, but earthquakes can be forecast. Earthquakes can be forecast. How? As we've shown you here almost at least once a week, we show you seismograms showing you the earthquakes here on the New Madrid fault. You've seen us show you these seismograms. The seismograms are data collected from the seismograph showing earthquakes up and down the fault line. Earthquakes every day going on here. Not just once a week, not just once a day, but many times all day long, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. When we follow the earthquakes, when we follow the occurrence of the earthquakes, we see what's happening. We can give ourselves an average of fault movement. Fault movement here. We know darn well that the fault is moving. But again, the USGS doesn't want us to know that. They have in fact hidden earthquakes from us. Now, the likelihood or probability can be calculated or forecasted from patterns of reoccurrence. Patterns of reoccurrence. We see that by looking at the seismographs. We look at present-day data. Present-day data that is showing us a fast reoccurrence. Fast reoccurrence every day, based on evidence of quake activity found in the seismological records of the pneumatic fault. We can look at the evidence. We can show earthquakes. We can show the reoccurrence. We show earthquakes getting larger here, larger and larger. We're going to talk about that in a minute. Before now, scientists estimated that the average interval between the magnitude 7.0 earthquakes or greater on the pneumatic fault was approximately every 500 years. Things are changing. Things are changing all over the world. In the past, the USGS, or the BS as I call them, have projected an earthquake probability of a magnitude 7.5 to 8.0 on the pneumatic fault. USGS says it's an approximately 7 to 10% possibility over the next 50 years. USGS is saying it's only a 7 to 10% possibility over the next 50 years. They said for a quake of 6.0, 7.0, the probability is anywhere from 28 to 46 years over the next 50 years. The USGS has not revised these numbers given the recent activity on the fault. They have not revised the numbers given the activity on the fault. As we show you this activity, you know darn well what's going on here. You know darn well what's going on here. We show it to you. Earthquakes are continuing to happen here. They're getting larger and larger every week. Earthquakes are getting larger and larger every week, and there are going to be more of them every day. Every day. What many refer to as the Great Pneumatic Earthquake was actually a seismic event made up of three major quakes. It was a seismic event made up of three major quakes, followed by thousands upon thousands of aftershocks. We saw that happen in Ridgecrest. Somewhere around 50,000 aftershocks from that Ridgecrest quake. Scientists are saying, we weren't there, there's nobody alive that was here during the last pneumatic earthquake over 200 years ago. They said there were three major earthquakes caused by thousands or followed by thousands of earthquake aftershocks, ranging from strong, damaging earthquakes, diminishing weaker quakes, and tremors. These aftershocks last years after the main shock. They last years after the main shock. Now, the three main shocks that they were telling us about were estimated to be magnitude 7.7, 7.5, and 7.7. Three main shocks. Now, there were no seismographic stations in the region at that time. Those are only estimated models. Only estimated models. The magnitude estimates vary widely from 7.7 to 8.1. It's estimated anywhere from 7.7 to 8.1 earthquakes, based on interpretive journal accounts from people who kept journals in those days. Damage reports and descriptions of the effects of the earthquake at the time. They have journal entries talking about damage of the earthquakes. What happened? The main shocks were felt as far away as the Gulf Coast, Gulf of America, the East Coast, and Quebec. The main shocks again were felt all the way south to the Gulf of America the East Coast, and Quebec, Canada. The areas of damage are estimated to be around 600,000 square miles. Yeah, 600,000 square miles. The quakes were felt over an area of approximately 5 million square kilometers. Over an area of approximately 5 million square kilometers. The area's strong shaking was approximately 10 times that of the great 1906 San Francisco earthquake. 10 times the shaking of the San Francisco earthquake in 1906. Today, the earthquakes of 1811, 1812, we're talking about December 1811 and January 1812. The earthquakes remain one of the most remarkable seismic events in history. One of the most remarkable events in history. Why? On the USGS list of the 20 largest earthquakes in all of the United States, the three main shockers are ranked 18, 19, and 20. The three main shocks on the New Madrid fault rate 18, 19, and 20 on the USGS largest earthquake chart. Alaska dominates the top of the list. On the list for continental 48 United States, the New Madrid earthquake main shocks are ranked 5, 6, and 7. On the list of continental 48 states, the New Madrid earthquake remains ranked 5, 6, and 7 on the list. That's incredible, isn't it? It really is. Now, guys, Renee Steffi's in the chat. She's listing these tornadic thunderstorm events that are happening. I'm going to repeat some of those for you right now. Del Rio, Texas. There's a storm producing 80-mile-per-hour winds and baseball-sized hail near Del Rio, Texas. If you are in those areas, get in your storm shelters now. Get and stay in your storm shelters until the storm passes or until you hear the all clear signals. Del Rio, Texas, you are right in the middle of a huge thunderstorm. Very large, very dangerous thunderstorm. Winds in excess of 80 miles per hour with baseball-sized hail. Get in your shelters right now, either underground or in the center of your house in a hallway away from windows, or in the corner of one of your basement. One of the corners of your basement, stay there until the all clear signal is given. This is a very dangerous storm. Renee Steffi's also saying there is softball-sized hail been spotted at Potomac, Illinois. Potomac, Illinois, guys. This storm is ranging from the southeastern side of Texas all the way up into Illinois, over 1,000 miles long. This storm system is over 1,000 miles long. That's huge. If you are in that area, guys, make sure you're paying attention to your AM, FM weather radios, your television meteorological forecasts, or you hear these storm signals being put out from sirens in your area. Please pay attention to those. If you have a very bad thunderstorm going in the area, go to your thunderstorm shelters immediately. Go to your tornado and storm shelters immediately and stay there till the all clear signal is given. This is for your safety. This is for your safety. Now, getting back to the New Madrid fault here. The New Madrid seismic events, have occurred before 1811. Research has been found. I've done a lot of research now, guys. Research has been found that there is evidence of similar activity dating back to 900 AD, 900 years after Christ's death. And again, 1450 AD. Now, that's a long time. We've had all kinds of evidence here. All kinds of evidence here. Current research has indicated large earthquake activity dating back at least 5,000 years. Earthquake activity here on the Pneumatic Fault dates back over 5,000 years. 5 grand. Damaging quakes have occurred here on the Pneumatic Fault ever since then. 2 of the strongest earthquakes include a magnitude 6 on January 4th, 1843, centered near Marktree, Arkansas. Marktree, Arkansas. I happen to have a seismogram from that tonight. Marktree, Arkansas. Let me pull up that seismogram for you right now. I want to show this to you. Hold on a second. Guess what? This is that earthquake, the earthquakes today, this morning in Marktree, Arkansas. And more earthquakes this afternoon. Fancy that. Okay. This 2 of the strongest earthquakes occurred here on the Pneumatic Fault at magnitude 6.0 on January 4th, 1843. Okay. 32 years after the huge earthquake happened on the Pneumatic Fault. A 6.0 earthquake on January 4th, 1843. And a magnitude 6.6 on October 31st, centered near Charleston, Missouri. Charleston, Missouri. Today, they're not showing any earthquakes at all at Charleston, Missouri. None. Not even tremors. Usually we can see tremors here over on the seismogram at Charleston. Today there's nothing. It's like they didn't even run the seismogram today. It's blank. It's empty. But today you can see this earthquake seismogram here at Marktree, Arkansas. Guys, the largest of these earthquakes are at least 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes. The largest earthquakes today here on the Pneumatic Fault in Marktree, Arkansas are 3.0, 3.3 earthquakes. Okay? These happen many times a day. Anywhere from 5 to 10 times a day. Marktree, Arkansas. And the earthquakes are getting larger. Earthquakes are getting larger here as well. Okay? Now, the Charleston quake. Okay? The Charleston quake was the strongest since 1811. It damaged every building in the commercial area of Charleston and Cairo, Illinois, and Memphis, Tennessee. Damaged every building in the commercial area of Charleston, Cairo, Illinois, and Memphis, Tennessee. The other cities also sustained significant damages. Near Charleston, 4 acres of ground sank. 4 acres of ground sank near Charleston, Illinois, or Missouri. Charleston, Missouri. Sank. And a lake was formed there. That earthquake near Charleston was felt all or over a portion of 23 states. Over all or a portion of 23 states, and at some places in Canada. Huge on the Pneumatic Fault. In the last 215 years since 1811, changes to this area would be affected by major quake activity. Changes in this area will be affected by major earthquake activity. The changes would be very drastic. When that earthquake hits, the changes will be very drastic. This area was once sparsely populated. Then it was more developed. When this earthquake hit, there were some cabins in this area. Cabins all over the area. Sparsely populated cabins. Now, what else has happened here? What else has happened here? When the New Madrid earthquake happened, the Mississippi River quit flowing for 7 minutes. The Mississippi River quit flowing for 7 minutes. What happened? What happened, guys? Does anybody remember what happened? A huge lake formed. A huge lake formed called the Real Foot Lake. Called the Real Foot Lake. Interesting. Guess what? That Real Foot Lake is near, it's just east of the present day Mississippi River. It's near on the east side of the Mississippi River. I'm going to show you the map. This is a map. You see the Real Foot Lake right here? Today's Mississippi River is just west of the Real Foot Lake. The Mississippi River back in 1811 stopped flowing for 7 minutes. The water poured into a lower area or a gulf over here in this area. Now, guys, there were people who lived here in cabins. So those cabins are probably down at the bottom of this lake today. Down at the bottom of the lake today. Okay? Back then it was sparsely populated. There were approximately 5,700 residents in St. Louis. St. Louis. 5,700 residents in St. Louis. Now, as we said, now there is an estimated 11 to 12 million people or more who live in the St. Louis to Memphis region. That's a lot of people. That's a ton of people, ladies and gentlemen. That's a ton of people living in the same area. A ton of people. Millions of people will be damaged, will be affected by this earthquake. And yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Now, I want to be perfectly clear here. With urban development, along with the increase in population that elevates this potential to fatalities, it elevates us to the potential for fatalities and injuries and damage from the infrastructure by the similar event. That's what's going to happen in this modern era. Okay? The estimated population in this area, just between St. Louis and Memphis, Tennessee, to include Marktree, Little Rock, Charleston, Barker Cemetery, going down to Memphis, Tiptonville, Tennessee, New Orleans. 11, 12 million people or more who live in this area. Because of that, there's going to be a very real possibility of a huge increase in fatalities and injuries in what USGS is saying. As you can think, there's going to be a ton of damage as well. Major infrastructure damage. Water, Water pipelines are going to be broken. Gas and electric pipelines are also going to be broken. And if the power is on the poles, power lines are on the poles are going to go down. The poles will go down. We talked about this before. When we have shaking, what happens? Water rises to the surface, doesn't it? The groundwater rises to the surface in loamy soil areas, which is along the Mississippi River. We're going to have areas of quicksand, guys, liquefaction. Houses and buildings are going to sink into the ground. Houses and buildings are going to sink into the ground. Some of them are going to tip over. Power poles are also going to tip over because the power poles are in the ground right now. And when these loamy soil areas meet that groundwater, the power poles are going to sink and fall over. Cars are going to sink into the sand. If people are sitting standing on top of this loamy oil in the liquefaction areas, you're also going to sink into the liquefaction, into the sand. Gas and natural gas. Petroleum and natural gas pipelines are also going to be affected and be damaged. Nobody's probably going to be able to buy fuel in this area for a long time, probably years and years. Okay? Some estimates project that damage in Missouri alone could reach upwards of $6 billion or more after the New Madrid earthquake occurs. Over $6 billion in damage in Missouri alone. Just Missouri. We're not talking about Arkansas. We're not talking about Kentucky. We're not talking about Tennessee or Illinois or Indiana. We're not talking about Mississippi, Arkansas, or Louisiana. That projected damage is over $6 billion, probably close to $15 to $20 billion in damage. In 1811, there were no seismographs in the region. The first seismograph was installed at St. Louis University in 1909. Approximately 270 seismic stations that monitor the region are now online. They're online because of cooperative agencies in the region. In addition to the main shocks, 4 aftershocks are estimated at greater than 6.0. Aftershocks estimated larger than 6.0 happened between December 6, 1811 and February 1812. More than 200 aftershocks ranging from large to moderate quakes. Moderate 4.0, large 5.9. Over 200 aftershocks. That's just between December 1811 and March 1812. An estimated 1,800 additional aftershocks took place during that same time period. Aftershocks strong enough to be felt through the extended region until 1817. Aftershocks strong enough to be felt through the entire region through 1817. That's huge. Can you imagine 17 years of earthquakes? 7 years of earthquakes, continuing 7 years continuing earthquakes. Can you imagine that? That's unreal. Aftershock activity continued over the next decade. The effects of the quake were extensive and dramatic. Land deformation, elevation changes, both uplift and subsidence. Subsidence is when the ground goes down. Up if this when it is raised up by the plate moving, by the fault moving. Okay. Now I had a picture of this from sunk lands in Arkansas. That picture has since disappeared. The ground there in sunk lands, Arkansas, raised 4 feet higher than the surrounding ground. Was raised 4 feet higher than the surrounding ground. The surrounding ground sunk. The St. Francis sunken lands in northeast Arkansas are 30-mile wide stretch of swampy forested wetlands. 30-mile stretch of swampy forested wetlands along the St. Francis River. That's what happened. It was created by the 1811-1812 pneumatic quake. The pneumatic quake caused the ground to drop 6 to 8 feet in areas. The 2,700-acre wildlife management area of the St. Francis sunk lands, 27,000-acre wildlife management area, features cypress trees, all kinds of wildlife from deer to squirrels, and 10-mile water trail popular for fishing and hunting. Real Foot Lake I showed you. Let me bring up that picture of Real Foot Lake again here. Real Foot Lake. Real Foot Lake in western Tennessee, and temporary waterfalls along the Mississippi River. Waterfalls on the Mississippi River, meaning the ground dropped in the Mississippi River. The ground dropped in the Mississippi River, causing waterfalls. Vast tracts of land were flooded. Vast tracts of land were flooded by the Mississippi River. Real Foot Lake. The most severely affected areas are estimated to be about 78,000 to 129,000 square kilometers. Between 78,000 and 129,000 square kilometers. That's huge. Large areas of fertile land were made unfit for farming. Large areas here were made unfit for farming by landslides, sand blows, fissures, and flooding. We've talked about fissures and flooding before. Fissures are going to open up there. Fissures are going to open up just like we've shown you when these other earthquakes have hit. Fissures of land open up. Great big huge gullies open up. We're going to also see flooding here just like we had last time. Sand blows, or what they call sand boils, meaning the sand is forced up from the ground by force. Force. Sand blows are what they call sand boils. Those are conical deposits of sand and water ejected to the surface, typically caused by earthquake-induced liquefaction or of loose saturated soil. They often appear as bubbling or crater-like features when high pressure forces water and sediment through the cracks of fissures. Water and soil or sand are forced up through those fissures, causing these what they call sand boils or sand blows. That's what they are. Thousands of sand blows are still visible today. On the Mississippi River, miles and miles, miles upon miles of high river embankments collapsed, and islands that were there in the Mississippi were submerged. The river was filled with debris. There were boats that had been going up and down the river. Navigation channels changed. For quite some time, boats were not able to navigate the river. Large waves were generated by the earthquake. Large waves in the Mississippi River were generated by the earthquake. Yeah, that's what happens. The turbulence of the water capsized boats. Can you imagine that? The turbulence from the shaking, earthquake shaking, turbulence capsized boats that were in the river. As we said before, when the new Madrid earthquake happens, it's going to cause catastrophic damage across the central United States, potentially becoming the costliest disaster in United States history. It's going to probably become the costliest disaster in United States history. Fathom that. Fathom that. There will be widespread building collapses, especially older structures. Massive infrastructure failure. Massive infrastructure failure. Bridges and roads, utilities, pipelines. There's going to be a huge number of casualties, displaced people, and severe economic disruption, with shaking felt hundreds of miles away, affecting major cities such as Memphis, St. Louis, even reaching at the East Coast such as Boston, and even Quebec, Canada. The shake's intensity in the Midwest could be 20 times greater than a comparable California quake due to local geology, causing landslides, liquefaction, sand boils, and potentially disrupting the Mississippi River itself. The last earthquake there in 1811, 1812 disrupted the Mississippi and probably disrupted it again. Severe damage and collapse of buildings, particularly old ones, not built to seismic standards, not built to modern seismic standards. In Missouri, Arkansas, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mississippi, and Louisiana. Bridges and roadways like I-55 and Interstate 40. Power lines and communication networks are going to be crippled. Power lines and communication networks are going to be crippled. Shaking is going to be felt much farther than a West Coast quake. Potentially, like I said, as far as Boston, and maybe even possibly up into Quebec, Canada, affecting millions of people. Millions of people, guys. Incredible. Incredible. Major cities such as Memphis and St. Louis, along with Little Rock, Arkansas, and Evansville, Indiana, are going to be directly within or very near the New Madrid seismic zone. Those cities are going to be also severely impacted by the large quake. And shaking damage could extend across and up and down the whole Mississippi Valley, as far as the East Coast. Shaking damage could be possibly as far as the East Coast. Imagine that. The New Madrid seismic zone is one of the most seismically active areas east of the Rockies, with powerful earthquakes in 1811 and 1812 that were felt as far away as Boston and New York City and up to Quebec, Canada. This earthquake is going to cause widespread damage. Shaking is going to be felt across the central United States area, all the way across the East Coast. Cities and areas most at risk due to proximity: Missouri, St. Louis, New Madrid, Hayti, and Crothersville. Tennessee, Memphis, Dyersburg, and areas near Reelfoot Lake. Arkansas, Little Rock, Blytheville, Martree, Kentucky, Western Kentucky, including areas near the fault line, all up and down north and south along the Mississippi River, all the way up and down the west side of the Mississippi state of Mississippi, all up and down the eastern side of Louisiana, all the way down to the Gulf of America. Illinois, the cities and towns around southern Illinois, including, guess what? Cairo, St. Louis, Missouri, including Decatur, Illinois. in Indiana, Evansville, Indiana. Gonna happen, guys. Gonna happen. Now, let me show you some earthquakes today. Just briefly, let me show you some earthquakes today. This is gonna blow your mind. They've happened. They've happened. Let me take down our USGS map here. Don't need to see that. Take down our depth of magnitude conversion chart as well. Now, let's take a look at these earthquakes, guys. Okay. This is Madrid, Arkansas here. I've got more. Ozark Folk Center. Ozark Folk Center in central Arkansas. Look at this. Look at this, guys. 3.0 earthquakes this morning, late this morning. Okay, at approximately 8:50 this morning. I'm sorry, not 8:50, 11:50 this morning. 11:50 this morning. 3.0 earthquakes. Look closely at this. There were multiple earthquakes, lasting about 10 seconds here. Earthquake shaking lasting 10 seconds. Then again, at approximately 11:54, more 3.0 shaking here. This shaking lasted nearly 45 seconds. Shaking this morning lasted over 45 seconds here. That was the Ozark Folk Center. This is over in north central Arkansas. Madrid, Arkansas this afternoon. Look at that blue line here. That blue line on the left is 12:30. Look what happened at 12:31. These are 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes, lasting a minute and a half. Now, we know you're probably not going to feel a 2.5 earthquake. These are minor earthquakes. But this earthquake lasted a minute and a half. Look at the other tremors here. Look at the other tremors here that happened here today. Again, these earthquakes up and down the entire pneumatic fault are happening today. They happen every day. Every day. Truman, Arkansas this morning. Look at all these quakes. Earlier this morning, before 4:30 this morning, these were tremors except for one at the top here. Okay, this happened just after 12:48 this morning. That was a 2.7, 2.8 earthquake, minor earthquake at 12:48 this morning. But look at what happened later this morning today. Truman, Arkansas. Truman, Arkansas, guys, what happened? Guys, that's a 3.0 earthquake this morning. Just after 9:45 this morning, lasting a full 2 minutes. 3.0 earthquake being felt for 2 to 3 minutes. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that, guys? It's going to happen. It's going to happen again and again. These earthquakes are going to happen. And we may see these more frequently in the near future. We may see these more frequently in the near future, guys. This is over in eastern Arkansas. Eastern Arkansas. Let's go down south to Tyrone, Arkansas. Look at this. Again, this is this morning. Yes, we see a lot of tremors here. A lot of tremors and minor earthquakes. Now, you see an earthquake on the green line there, okay? This is just after 5:46 this morning. Actually, after 5:47 this morning. 2.93 points of earthquake. You see other minor earthquakes here as well. Then we jump down here just after 9:30 this morning on the blue line. 9:30 this morning on the blue line. Right before 9:31. That's another 3 points of earthquake, guys. 3 points of earthquake this morning. Yeah, they're happening. They're happening. These are felt earthquakes in eastern Arkansas. They're ongoing earthquakes. Renee Sevi says a thunderstorm warning has been issued for Hershey, Illinois, or Herscher, Illinois, until 6 p.m. Central Time. 3-inch baseball-sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. The tornado is possibly on the ground with what they call a tag, which means a debris ball on the radar. That tornado near Herscher, Illinois, is on the ground. Be very careful, guys. Earthquake is heading in the northeast direction at 30 miles per hour. Earthquake is headed in the northeastern direction at 30 miles per hour. So if you're anywhere near Herscher or anywhere northeast of there, take cover now. Take cover now. Don't chance being caught in it. Please don't take a chance being caught in it. This is going to be a terrible, terrible tornado. If it has a debris ball that's on the ground, it could be a very terrible tornado. Don't chance it. Please don't chance it, guys. Okay? We've shown you earthquakes in Arkansas. Let's go south, or actually, let's go north to Missouri. Actually, no. Let's go north to Missouri here. Okay? Let's be honest here. Charleston, Arkansas. In our presentation today, we listed Charleston, Arkansas as probably going to be hardest hit. Look at this. Today, they've hardly had any tremors, mostly microquakes. Mostly microquakes here in Charleston, Missouri. Okay? Incredible. Let's go over here to Barkus Cemetery. Barkus Cemetery. 3 years ago, we had just tiny tremors here. 2 years ago, we had some tremors and minor earthquakes, 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 minor earthquakes. 2 years ago, we started seeing 2.6, 3 points earthquakes, 2.0, 2.6 minor earthquakes up to 3.0 small quakes. Guess what? This morning, you see some 2.5, 2.6 earthquakes here today on that red line in the center here. Then we jump down here to 845 on the left-hand side. Over at 850 over here in the center here. You see some tremors building into minor earthquakes, building into 2.3, 2.4 minor earthquakes. Now, at 9:45 this morning, actually not 9:45, 9:40 this morning on the blue line, tremors building into 2.2 earthquakes. Tremors starting up and building into 2.2 earthquakes. Then at approximately 9:50 this morning, approximately 9:50 this morning, moving in 9:51. Tremors building up to 1.9 tremors here. Tremors lasting almost 3 minutes long. Okay, Barkus Cemetery. Barkus Cemetery. Guess what? Barkus Cemetery this afternoon. Look what happened here. At approximately 12:31 this afternoon, on that top blue line, we had some tremors building into 2 points of earthquake there. Then after 1, 2, 3, 4, after 1:04 this afternoon on the black line here, Marcus Cemetery, Missouri. This is a 3.0 earthquake. That's a 3.0 earthquake and possibly even lasting maybe 3 seconds. Then we jump down here to 1:33. 1:33 this afternoon. Another 3.0 earthquake, guys. 3:02 this afternoon. Another good sized tremor. Earthquakes are happening here in Missouri. I want to show you that. Earthquakes are happening here, and there's substantial earthquakes here in Missouri. Substantial earthquakes here in Missouri. Let's go over here and show you Guam, Missouri this morning. Guam, Missouri this morning. Look at this. You have long duration tremors building into earthquakes here, especially after, I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. After 5:19, 5:20 this morning. Tremor building into a 2.3 earthquake. Tremor building into a 2.3 earthquake. Then on the next green line after that. Just off the east coast of Honshu, Japan, they had a 4.3 earthquake that was upgraded to a 5.0 large quake. Off the east coast of Honshu, Japan, they had a 4.3 earthquake upgraded to a 5.0 large quake. Unreal. That means USGS didn't know what it was. They either had the wires crossed or the brain's not working. They were not analyzing seismic data from the seismographs. Insane. But again, after 5 a.m. this morning, 5:43 a.m. this morning, 5:45 this morning. Look at this. We have tremors, minor earthquakes building up to 3.0 earthquake here on the green line. The rest of these are these tremors building up to minor earthquakes here. That's this morning here in Guam, Missouri. Again, what has happened here? During the past 3 years, seismic events have happened between tremors to full-blown earthquakes. Full-blown 3.0 large earthquakes here in the New Madrid seismic zone. Prior to that, all we had were tremors. Tremors, guys. Missouri. Let's take a look at let's take a look at Matthews, Missouri, north of New Madrid. Matthews, Missouri, north of New Madrid, Missouri here. Look what happened here today. Just after approximately 1:20 a.m. this morning, we had tremors, didn't we? Those tremors turned into 3.0 earthquakes for about a minute and a half. Minute and a half of 3.0 earthquakes here. Incredible. Then they went back down to minor earthquakes, 2.9 and lower. Then back down to tremors again. Then 3:26 this morning. 3:26 this morning. On the red line here in the center of the seismograph. Again, we have tremors building into minor earthquakes, turning into 3.0 earthquakes again. Incredible. But that seismic sequence didn't stop there. Okay? It started at approximately 3:20 and it continued until after 3:34 this morning. From 3:20 to 3:34. 14 minutes worth of shaking. 14 minutes worth of shaking. Then the next shaking we had was, let's see here, 10, 9, 8, 7:55 this morning. 7:55 this morning, we had some tremors, tiny tremors. Those tremors built into 2.0 earthquakes here. From 5:55 this morning, or 7:55 this morning, sorry, from 7:55 this morning until 8:02 this morning. Seismic activity. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Tremors and minor earthquakes. Matthews, Missouri, just north of New Madrid itself. Just north of New Madrid, Missouri. Didn't stop there. Let's go over to Portage, Missouri, right alongside the Mississippi. Portageville, look at this, all morning long. Literally all morning long. From 1:13 this morning on the top black line on the right-hand side. 3.0 earthquake. 3.0 earthquake lasting 3 minutes. It came over all the way over here to 1:15 this morning. From 3:13 to 1:15. 3 minutes worth of shaking there. You see some more tremors and minor earthquakes here. Then, at 7 a.m. this morning, 7:05 this morning, we had tremors. 7:06, tremors turning into 2.0, 2.2, 2.3 minor earthquakes. 8 a.m. this morning, on the next black line. 3.0 small earthquakes at least. Notice this, they cut off the top and the bottom of these seismic sequences. They cut off the top and the bottom of these seismic sequences, meaning these earthquakes are larger than they're showing them to be. These earthquakes are larger than they are showing to be. Possibly even up to 3.3 earthquakes, I believe. The same thing happened after 8:35, 8:36 this morning on the next blue line. Look at that. 3.0 earthquakes happening. 3.0 earthquakes lasting 1, 2, 3 minutes. 3 minutes with a small shaking activity. Probably as large as a 3.3, 3.5 earthquake. How would you like to feel the earth move beneath your feet for 3 minutes? That would be unreal. That would be craziness. That would be craziness. But it didn't stop. It continued after, this would be 9:48, 9:49 this morning. 3.0 earthquakes continuing here. Yeah. Incredible. That after 10:43 this morning, 10:43 this morning on the bottom right-hand side on the blue line, more 3.0 earthquakes here. Starts off with tremors, building into 2.0, 2.5, building into 3.0 earthquakes here. Again, the top and the bottom of this sequence was cut off. So possibly was larger than a 3.0 earthquake. Small earthquake. Small earthquake. At 11:43 or 11:44 this morning. I'm sorry, not 11:44. 11:41 this morning on the red line. 11:41 this morning, we have a 2.8, 2.9 earthquake. These earthquakes didn't stop. They continued all morning long. Portage, Missouri, along Mississippi, right alongside the Mississippi River, guys. These earthquakes continued and continued and continued. This afternoon, it continued with this, mostly tremors. But at 2:18 this afternoon, 2:18 2.7, 2.8 earthquake here. Then at 2:31, 2:32 this afternoon, more 3.0 earthquake activity. More 3.0 small earthquake activity here. That's wild. Earthquakes didn't stop this morning in Portage, Missouri. They continue this afternoon as well. They're moving. The entire fault is moving, guys. The entire fault is moving. Now, do we have any questions about what's going on here? Let's go up to Illinois now. Illinois. For the past 5 to 6 weeks, we've seen earthquakes in Decatur, Illinois. Look here. These earthquakes are continuing here in Decatur, Illinois. Yes, we've had some tremors here. We've had some minor earthquakes. We're also having here 3 points earthquakes here. You can see them on the seismograph. These longer earthquakes are 3 points earthquakes here on the seismograph. Decatur, Illinois this morning. This is the northern side of the New Madrid Fault. The northern side of the New Madrid Fault. Decatur, Illinois this afternoon. Look at this. This shows you the same kind of seismic energy. Now look, after 1 p.m. what happened? After 1 p.m. what happened? After 1:06 p.m. they turned off the seismograph. They turned off the darn seismograph. What happened? Between 1:06 and 1:15 they turned it off. What happened that time? They're trying to hide. What are they trying to hide here? Then at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. this afternoon, they did the same thing. They turned off the seismograph. Turned it flat off. What's the problem here? Earthquakes didn't stop happening. They continued. Then we jump down here to 3:30 p.m. on the left-hand side on the blue line. We come over 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minutes later. 6.5 minutes later, we have another 3 points of earthquake. (3:36 p.m. this afternoon). Another 3 points of earthquake. On the next red line below that. Over on the left-hand side, it'll be 3:15. 3:20 p.m. this afternoon. Another 3 points of earthquake here in Decatur, Illinois. Okay? Seismic energy is moving north as well. Not just south, not just central Missouri, but up to Illinois as well. It's happening. It's happening. Up and down the entire fault line, it's happening. Renee Seppi is saying 5-inch diameter hail is found and photographed northwest of Buckingham, Illinois. 5-inch hail in Buckingham, Illinois, guys. Buckingham, Illinois, that's huge. That's like that. 5-inch diameter hails like this. That's huge. That can poke holes in ceilings. That can poke holes through walls. That can kill people and kill animals out in fields. Can you imagine a hail ball 5 inches in diameter hitting a deer or a huge cow or a sheep out in that field? Killing animals. That's crazy. That's crazy. Now, Linda Covington used to live in Chicago, Illinois. She's here in the chat right now. She said when she lived in Chicago, she never worried about earthquakes there at all. I never worried about earthquakes in Idaho. Now they're having them. When I first moved to San Diego, we did not feel any earthquakes until about 1990. 1990. 5.6 earthquake hit in northern San Diego County. I was there. I felt that earthquake. Later, about 4 years later, actually it's longer than that, about 5 years later, another 5.6 and 5.9 hit in San Diego County. At that time, I was in Lakeside, California. Felt those earthquakes as well. Now, they have had some tremors and minor earthquakes that we did feel. But now in San Diego, they've had some moderate earthquakes, 4.0, 4.9. They've also had 5.0, 5.9. Over on the east side of the Chocolate Mountains, in the cities and towns over in Southern California in the Imperial Valley. They've had tremors, they've had minor earthquakes, they've had 3.0, they've had 5.0 earthquakes in Imperial County. They didn't have them before. Now they're having them. Now they're having them. Things have really changed. Rob 52 is here. Rob 52 is one of my dearest friends in Arizona. He says here in the chat, it sounds like me in 1970, 1994 earthquakes up in Los Angeles. I agree. I totally agree, Rob. As you know, I was there in Northridge after that quake hit in 1994. Unreal. 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 Earthquakes are happening, guys. Rob 52 says the San Andreas Fault is happening, is moving big time, just like I said early on in this program. Earthquakes on the West Coast, earthquakes on the New Madrid Fault, and maybe this week I'll also tell you about earthquakes on the East Coast. Yes, we're having small and minor earthquakes on the East Coast as well. We're having small and minor earthquakes on the East Coast as well. Even here in Morganton, North Carolina today. Even here in Morganton, North Carolina today. Yeah, big time. Big time. Now, guys, this past week, we've been delving into the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. I'm going to John chapter 5, verse 19. John chapter 5, verse 19. Jesus was talking to the Jews and talking to the Pharisees and Sadducees, talking about them breaking the Sabbath day. Then answered Jesus and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing unto you. I misread that. The Son can do nothing by himself, but what he seeth the Father do. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son. Likewise. Our Heavenly Father does things, and his Son, Jesus Christ, does things too. Jesus Christ performed miracles. He healed people on the Sabbath. Sadducees and Pharisees said, oh, you're working on the Sabbath. Jesus Christ wasn't just working, he was performing miracles. Miracles from heaven. Raising people from the dead. Healing people of illnesses, serious illnesses. They were trying to catch him. Trying to defame him. Our Savior, the Redeemer of the world. Between now and Easter, we're going to be talking more and more about the life and ministry of Jesus Christ as we get closer to Easter time. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ. We want to bring us closer to the Savior. We want to bring us closer to the Savior. The Lord loves us. The Lord loves us. Easter, prior to his death, he took some of his disciples to the Garden of Gethsemane and prayed. Prayed by himself, asking his Heavenly Father, if it be his will, to take this away from him, but not his will, but thine be done. Not Jesus Christ's will, but thine be done. Jesus Christ himself knew what his mission was. He knew what was going to happen to him. He prayed here in the Garden of Gethsemane. He prayed and wept great drops of blood. He bled great drops of blood here in the Garden of Gethsemane for us. Took upon himself the sins of the entire world. The Easter message is this. This comes from my friend Richard Paul Evans, who's written many books. O Lord, if I could borrow just one breath from the night you walked the garden alone, not to ask for miracles, not to beg for proof, but to feel what it was like to be enough, just enough, without the weight of tomorrow's promises. And if you answered, I'd probably cry, not because it hurt, but because I finally stopped pretending. I knew how to carry it all. So keep the stars, keep the thunder. Just let me sit here in the dark and believe that you are listening, still listening. Richard Paul Evans, this past week. Brothers and sisters, the Savior Jesus Christ is our Savior and Redeemer, the Savior and Redeemer of the world. We're celebrating his life and resurrection this next few weeks. May God bless us, that we might keep this in mind as we go through these next few weeks. May God bless us that we may all gain a stronger testimony of our Savior and Redeemer, Jesus Christ, and also help pass it on to our family members, our brothers and sisters, our families, our children and grandchildren as well. May God bless you. May God lift you into the palms of his hands. May God bless you this day and always. We love you, brothers and sisters. We truly love you. Now, Renee Sepi also is talking about an earthquake here, or not an earthquake, but a tornado warning. A tornado warning has been issued for Alamo Village, Texas. Tornado warning issued for Alamo Village, Texas, until 6:45 p.m. Central Daylight Time, and baseball-sized hail. If you guys are in the tornado warning area, take cover now. If you have a tornado shelter, get there immediately. Don't wait. If you don't have a tornado shelter, go to the innermost part of your home, possibly a hallway without windows. Pull a bed mattress in on top of you, over you and your family, to protect you and your family from falling objects. Stay in that area. Stay in that area under the mattress until a tornado siren ends, or until an all clear is given. Don't make yourself get hit by a tornado, the full-blown power of a tornado. Stay in your tornado shelters. If you don't have a tornado shelter, go to the center of your home, or if you have a basement, go to innermost corner of your basement. Innermost corner of your basement, and stay there. Stay there until the all clear is given. Brothers and sisters, we love you. We care about you. We ask for God's blessings to be upon each of you. Renee Sevi has to undergo a surgery. I'm not going to go into it, but she has to undergo a surgery. Our dear friend and sister, Steam Volcano, Sharon Bowen, is also going to have to undergo surgery very soon. May God bless those brothers and sisters here from our EMA family and our extended families as well. May God bless them and heal them from their injuries. Heal them from the things that they are going through, that they may return to whole health. May God bless us all. May God bless us all. That's our prayer for all of you, in the very sacred name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen. Brothers and sisters, we will be back today, tonight, or tomorrow. As soon as anything major happens, we'll be back here on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Until then, may God bless you. May God be with you this day and always. May God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side. Have a good night, everybody. Much love. See you soon. God bless.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow and making our channel's future bright.